right now to go get Bill's prize. I got out of the house without any kids, without my husband. I just left. So this is my first solo excursion since the baby was born, and I'm gonna enjoy it. Okay guys, so I got a message from a woman named Lisa who is considering going to truck driving school. She said that she's weary of going because she's afraid that she's not going to be able to handle a big vehicle, and that she might not be able to hook up a trailer properly or safely, securely, and she might hurt somebody by getting in an accident or, you know, something like that. And I definitely understand all these fears because I've been there. I went to truck driving school just like everybody else, or, you know, like people learn on the job, but, you know, more so truck driving school now. But before I started truck driving school, I had fears, but they weren't that strong because I was super young and naive. But I understand where she's coming from, because going from a car to a semi that's a big jump. And for the trailer thing, I think that you'll learn, you know, nobody, like, they're gonna show you in truck driving school how to hook and unhook a fifth wheel trailer, but a pintle hitch trailer isn't hard either. But you guys know I've talked about, you know, you got to check and recheck and make sure that you definitely check to make sure that your pintle hitch is closed and you checked it. I obsess over it. Whenever I hook up my trailer, I hook it up. The first thing I do once I drop the eye over the hitch is I close the hitch. I lock it. That's the first thing that I do. And then after I hook everything else up, I check to make sure I locked it. And then I will finish doing my inspection. And then before I leave the yard, I check to make sure I locked it. And even sometimes I get to the end of the driveway, you know, our long driveway, and I pull the brakes, I get out, and I double check again to make sure that I locked it. I am a little paranoid about losing my trailer. I worked at a company where people lost trailers all the time. So I'm a little obsessive. But so her question made me start thinking, and so I asked a couple of friends, and I reached out to my instructor to find out if there was anything, you know, that people were majorly afraid of when starting truck driving school that maybe I didn't think of, or you know, like common fears and things like that. And he got back to me, and I'll read you guys what he said because it kind of made me laugh. First he spoke about trailers, but I'll just read it to you guys. The biggest fear that I remember students having was backing. The backing portion of the test freaked most of them out. Even people that believed they could back up had generally not backed up with mirrors, which, I mean, that makes sense. Backing up with mirrors, if you've never done it before, can be hard. The second biggest worry they seemed to have was learning to shift. So yeah, I mean, learning to shift is definitely different than when you drive a car, a manual car, but it's learnable. And he says that's why we had the car set up the way we did, that you could go out and shift. Basically, they had, when I was in truck driving school, they had a little road built around the building, and it had stop signs and right turns. And so you could go out and you get in the truck, or after you do your inspection, you get in the truck, and then you get to drive basically just around the building, and you stop and start, and you stop and start, and I mean, I think we got up to like maybe third gear at the highest, if that, but it taught you how to upshift and downshift in the yard when there was no pressure other than the fact that all your classmates are watching you. But so, and then he gets into what I'd asked him specifically. He's like, honestly, I don't remember anything specific about your insecurities overall. You're confident, potentially a little overconfident, but your abilities seem to mostly support that. So what he basically, I was overconfident. That's what I was saying, is that I went into truck driving school knowing that I can learn to do this, and I'm kind of a fake it till you make it kind of person, so I was overconfident. And he did worry about me, but not so much. But he goes into talk about students would be in fear of having to go over the road, which was unwarranted because at the time there was a lot of local jobs, which is still kind of the same thing. People, I mean, obviously, like, worrying having to go over the road, some people worry about that, some people don't. And then I also talked to my really good friend, and she said her biggest fear was being able to pass the tests. And I totally get that. Tests, I don't test well. The drive test was easy, but the actual, like, written test, she was worried about that. And not taking her turns wide enough and taking out, like, a power pole or something like that, which I've seen done. So the fear of not being able to handle a big vehicle, you adjust to it. Just like when it takes time, but you know, you adjust to driving a bigger car or driving a bigger pickup. You learn the space pretty quickly, and your instructor is not going to take you out on the road if they don't think that you can move the vehicle safely. And that's part of the reason why when I was in truck driving school, we drove around the building a bunch, because you start to learn your spatial awareness, like, as you're driving around the building. And as to the fear of getting in an accident and hurting somebody, I have that fear now. It doesn't go away. I get in the truck every single day with a little bit of fear that I might hurt somebody. And I do everything that I can to make sure that I don't. But if I wasn't fearful of that, I think I would be worried. So if you're afraid of hurting someone or getting in an accident, I think that a little bit of fear is good. And I think that it keeps you cautious, it keeps you aware, and I think it might be a little bit good for you. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that fear, when you're making a life change, you know, you're learning something new, is really, really normal. And all of these fears are reasonable. You know, believing that you might hurt somebody is something that you really, like, you know, you have to listen to and understand, like, the vehicle is very large, you know, you'll learn though. And the fact that you're worried, I think, means that you'll be more cautious. But so for me, like, truck driving school, my biggest struggle in truck driving school wasn't the backing, it wasn't you know, it wasn't the shifting, it was the pre-trip. I struggled with the pre-trip a lot. And the reason for that being is that it is really specific, and you have to remember every little thing in order, and at least that's what it was when I did it. But you know, and I understood how the truck worked. I had taken diesel mechanics. I understand how air brakes worked. You know, I knew the parts, but it was just passing the pre-trip, remembering everything. And I think the reason why you do it in order is so that you remember everything. But yeah, I just think that you have to face your fear, and if you want to become a truck driver, you just have to give it a shot, because there's a lot of people out here that are willing to help you out, give you pointers, and tell you, you know, things that they learned out in the real world. Because truck driving school, just like most schooling, I think, gives you the basics. You learn how to control the vehicle, and you learn how it works, and that's about it. And then they push you out into the world, and you get a job, and the majority of what you're going to learn about truck driving is learned on the job. The actual just getting the truck down the road part, that's just the basics. But with all of that said, I really appreciate you guys watching. I was able to get everything I needed for Bill's prize, and it will be in the mail later today. And I was going to, I got him some extra stuff too. I'm not gonna give it all away, but I got him some stuff that's made in Washington. I don't know if you guys have ever had almond roca, but it's amazing. So there's some other stuff in there. I'm not gonna give it all away because this video will be out before the package gets there, and I want him to be surprised. Hopefully Bill doesn't have type 2 diabetes, and I'm not you know, trying to kill him with sugar, but it's all good. So I will see you guys next time.